let's put the module on the plate now and modify the plate here to accept the vacuum style pertronix unit. Remember, this unit came out of a 009 vacuum only distributor. It's a vacuum distributor styled unit, not a 009 unit. So I'm making this vacuum style fit in a 009. Now, if you've been following the other two parts, the lighting was kind of crappy, so I removed the camera so we can see what's going on here. Now, what we're going to do is eventually we're going to remove this plate down here by redoing or unscrewing these two screws here that hold both the cap clips and the breaker plate in place. Now, before I do that though, I want to make sure that I know where this is going to go. So here's what I'm going to do. Normally, when you buy a 009 style centrifugal electronic ignition, whether it's pertronix in this case, or hot spark or whoever, it will come with a nub on the bottom down here normally, and that nub will fit into this hole here. It would just kind of normally drop in there. It would index the pickup into its spot, and then you would bolt down on the other side of the plate. I'm not going to do that, obviously, because this is a vacuum style and this is centrifugal and we're making this work. It's the whole point of this video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use, if you notice, this here is oblonged, right? So I'm going to use, obviously this is an adjustment. I'm going to use that hole there as the adjustment side. Now that will also, if I put it in here and hold it here, if I put it in here and line it up, you can see I can line up the hole with the unit, and the mark that we were originally talking about in a couple of videos before, with the rotor on. If I turn this, okay, so that would be hash mark is here. You can see it, hash mark 009, lined up with the rotor itself, rotor. Now if I keep holding down the unit and I pull the rotor off, like we were before, remember there's your notch here that lines up with the rotor, and the bump that we were talking about back in the first video was lined directly crossed up with the unit itself. The bump and the unit together. So what I'm going to do is leave this hole here as my adjustment hole. I'm going to mark here, this one here, with a little bit of finesse, because what I'm trying to do is make sure that the curvature here, the curvature down here of the breaker plate and the curvature of the unit itself line up, right? You don't want the module to be smashed up against the distributor shaft, nor do you want it to be way out here like this with a gap. See, there's a gap, a giant gap down here. Okay, we want this thing to be following the same curvature as the breaker plate. We want the unit itself that's curved here to follow the curve of the breaker plate. Okay, I can't emphasize that enough. In order for, if you guys are trying to do this at home, or you guys want to give this a shot because you have one like I am, you need to make sure that it follows, if I can get up here, the curvature of the breaker plate and the unit. Okay, like I said, I'm going to now mark the hole here, because that'll keep my adjustment hole on the other side, so I can move the plate in and out to make the proper specifications that pertronix wants. Mark the hole, regular Sharpie here. Now I know there's probably some of you, sorry, something in my mouth, oh well. Some of you guys out there are probably cringing at the idea that I'm doing this. Some of you guys are probably like, holy cow, that's awesome. I'll be quite honest with you. I'll take the latter. I don't really care that I'm doing this, because a new one of these units, you know, they cost a bit of money. And if I already have one that works, why not just use the stuff that works that you already have? And like I said before, I'm not going to be using this vacuum only distributor on my motor anymore. I'm going to be using something like this. So here's what I did, if you can see, black Sharpie, circled in the dot. I still left myself the adjustment line with the adjustment hole on the other side. You can see that. And everything lines up as it should down below. So we'll take that back out. I'll find my cap that I dropped. Here you go. That's just a pointed black Sharpie, by the way. It's not the big end. I do have the big end down here, but you can use the smaller end. This works really good for doing stuff like this. What I did find, if you notice, the vacuum style plate, the bottom plate that you get when you buy the vacuum style pertronix, comes with 3 screws, one that holds down the plate and 2 that come up from the back side of the plate, that actually you use these nuts to bolt down the pertronix module, and there's a secondary plate that I had to use because of this distributor. Some distributors use this, some don't, but those 2 that come up come in like this. So basically what I'm doing is I'm copying the style so that this will work on the 009. Now, with me saying that, what I found is going to use with these nuts, these were the nuts that came off the pertronix module. I found these nuts, I found these screws, if you will. These are M4 by 0.7, I believe. Let me double check here. Yes, they are. I'll get that in the camera there if you guys can see it. Let's see. Maybe not. Anyways, they're M4s by 0.7. You can use anything you want. I just happen to have the stuff laying around. Whoop, shaky cam, sorry guys. And what I'm gonna do now, so these are the screws, M4s by 7s. I said they'll screw onto the nut. There you go. As I'm dropping them all over the floor. It's always a good time. There you go. You can see M47. They work. Get the other one off the floor here. Here we go. What I'm going to do now, take these breaker plate off. Now that I have it marked, you can see that it's marked. It's actually this one here. Hole, and that one there. I'll take the breaker plate out. I'm going to let you in a little secret. Well, it's not really a secret. I'll give you a little tip. How about that? It's not a secret. I don't think there's really many secrets left in the air-cooled Volkswagen world. If there are, people are hiding them like crazy. Here's a little trick. So this breaker plate actually rotates and then comes out. Okay, it will actually turn and then pops out this way. So what I do to make your life easier when you're putting this together, you can see it kind of rotates in there, is rotate it over, and then once it's rotated over, because it locks into a couple of little tangs, maybe you can see it down there, there's a tang right here that slides into. There's 3 of them, they're on all 3 corners of the distributor. So when you rotate it over, it unlocks the plate. What you want to do is when you do that, to make life a little bit easier for you to get it back in, is just mark a spot, right? Just put a little dot, little line, something. There you go. Little dot, little line, just little paint marker. It'll come right back off. Mark that in there like that, so that when you put the plate back in, comes right out. When you put the plate back in, you can put those 2 lines back together and rotate it over, and it doesn't become a giant hassle. Okay. So here you go, plate's out. There's the hole that I need to drill. And what I'm going to end up doing, as far as the drill goes, is I will drill it to, looks like a 3/16 hole is what it'll do, which I'd already measured. I'm not going to lie to you guys, so I'll just pull that up in here. Let's see. 3/16 drill bit is what I'm going to end up using. So I'll drill this hole and then we'll come back.